Just imagine if today you got on an airplane and traveled directly into space, and then within the next 30 minutes, you could be in any part of the earth which you want. If you are in the United States and New York, and if you had to travel to the farthest place, which might be Auckland or further, all you would do is get into an aircraft, which would be the most modern aircraft, 100 to 300 years into the future. And that aircraft would directly move up into space. And since space does not have friction and gravity, the friction of the earth, which includes the winds, the gravity, and other factors in terms of flight, friction, and resistance, make the aircraft quite slow. But if there's no gravity within the space, as we understand, it is to very little degrees. The further you go into space, the higher you go into space, you can travel vast kilometers, thousands and 10,000s of kilometers within a matter of 30 minutes, a matter of 1 hour, any part of the earth. And with the advanced technology of transport into the future, it would be very normal to travel to the farthest places in the world, just like New York to Auckland, or Singapore to New York, or any part of the world that you seem to be the farthest, would be at most a 30-minute distance by air in terms of space technology. And there were 3 young women who wanted to travel across the world. And they made it a point to travel to the farthest points in the world. And it was not a big event to travel to different parts of the world, provided they had the permissions to do so. The world during that time was kind of developed in its full form, which means that most of the population of the earth had kind of enough, and they were into a kind of prosperity, into abundance. And there was no much of crime or any kind of system by which people were kind of restricted to travel from one place to the other. Although there were restrictions in the times of how much they could stay, and in terms of the background, in terms of their understanding of the language, culture, in general, they could travel across the world. And these women traveled to the farthest places of the world and explored the planet. During those times, 300 years into the future, the planet had a better ecosystem that we see today, had a better lifestyle in terms of the flora, fauna, species of life which evolved and thrived because the advanced learning systems had helped humans evolve along with the energies of the source code of life. And thereby, the women enjoyed their travel not by the aircrafts that we see today. They had their own personal car-like aircraft, which could again move into space and then travel to the furthest kilometers, which could be around 30 minutes in any place of the earth. Then traveling on the road, it was one of the easiest ways of traveling across the world. So they envisioned a picnic from New York and into the outskirts of New Zealand. And they traveled in their car like aircraft into space, different countries, at any place in the world. They could also travel and work if they wanted. They could see the earth from the eye view of the greatest bird on earth, right from space, like how we see the earth from space station. They did not require the astronaut suits of today as we see, because the airplane itself was conditioned to absorb all of the space's hard truth, which included gravity. The aircraft which they were traveling in had all the systems of a happy and comfortable travel even within space. Now, into the future, we must understand that all of our travel in terms of large distances will be in terms of space. Today, also, we have that kind of space technology. We have the intercontinental ballistic missiles, which hardly takes an hour to travel from any part of the world to another in terms of speed. And it follows the same technology by moving into space, and then without friction or gravity, it travels at the fastest speeds within space and re-enters the orbit of the Earth. And that is used for destructive purposes as of now, or for the protection of the Earth. But into the future, such technologies, along with the energies of the Earth which sustain life for our planet, such technologies will only be used for the protection of the Earth, and also for travel, for sightseeing, for experiences. And these girls, 5 of them, enjoyed their travel right at the young age of 27 years. And it was not in any kind of aircraft that we see today. It was their own planes which they had, which was kind of a form of transport, provided they had the license to carry themselves to different parts of the globe. The experiences were not limited to Earth. They also had the option to travel to different locations within the universe, because humans, by that time, 300 and 400 years into the future, had evolved technologies by which they could reside in different spaces within the universe. Even those spaces had all of the technologies of the Earth. It had evolved in terms of living. Today we see that certain people within the Earth, the advanced, knowledgeable scientists and entrepreneurs, having a vision to travel to Mars. But 300 to 500 years into the future, they had already found planets where humans could evolve and thrive much better than Mars. It had conditions better than the Earth. And those places had developed with another human society, with all of the technological advancements. Humans also contacted certain life forms, alien life forms, which are much more technologically advanced. They were trying to work out a synergy among themselves. Now, these are all possibilities and things that will occur into the future in terms of our vision and understanding. But where does all of these advancements take us into the future? These advancements into the future should be for a better quality of experience, like the young girls in their 25, 27 and 29 years. Now these young girls in their prime age was not bothered in terms of living a life of fashion alone or trying to beautify themselves alone as per certain understanding across our world as of now. I'm talking about certain sections of the society who give a lot of emphasis only on the side of beauty. These women were also advanced in their knowledge about themselves, about the connection with the eternal source code of life. And once they understood the truth of their life and their living was at best when they were in synergy with the experience of the universe which provides life to every living form on earth, which helps them evolve and thrive. They had a better understanding of themselves. They were peaceful within themselves, along with the deepest of learning and the technology which were connected to their minds. They had a deeper understanding of the universe, the earth, the life systems, and they respected those life forms. When they traveled into space, they had an understanding about how the universal energy which sustains all life, not just on earth, was also a persuasive source of life for the ecosystem of planets. They had a greater understanding in terms of science, technology, basic human evolution, psychology. They knew their biology very well. They knew the advanced systems of knowledge. They knew the computational systems. Their minds were connected to the deepest of learning, and they were working in synergy with the source code of life and the intelligence of the universe, using the technologies of the time which had advanced because humans had made a concrete effort to work with the source code of life. Let's replenish our earth. 100 and 300 years into the future, the physical abilities of a man and woman will not depend on the muscle strength. Now we attribute the terms of a man in terms of the muscular abilities along with the abilities of the mind. We associate women with the feminine energy and also the feminine qualities of life, which makes the female a very evolved individual in terms of evolution as human. They are kind of a little superior to the man in terms of their ability to reproduce and give children. It's only a woman who can give a child into the world as of now. But 100 years, 150 years, 200 and 300 years into the future, the difference between a man and a woman in terms of what they contribute to the earth will be very minimal. Everything that a man can do today could be done by a woman. And with the greatest of deep learning systems and the advanced general intelligence, the super intelligence, both men and women would be connected to the intelligence of our world, which runs along with the intelligence of the source code of life. Because humans had made it a point that they will evolve along with the energies of life of our earth. And that simple, small difference in terms of evolution of men and women will make women to do things in a much better way. They will be able to develop their feminine abilities in a more unique way. They would be able to solve the most complex of scientific problems. As we see today in the technological field, women are less represented as of now. But into the future, with the help of advanced learning and the deepest of learning chips, the quantum computers, the difference between men and women will not matter in terms of their intelligence. As of now, we understand women also are much superior in terms of the intelligence in different areas of working. Men also have their abilities in terms of intelligence, which could be technical. Men also could be superior in sense of certain kinds of intelligence. Women are also superior in their feminine form of intelligence. Now into the future, both of the men and women will work in synergy in terms of the energy of the male and the female, the alpha and the gamma, the yin and the yang. It's the energy of the universe which brings new life, and the greater intelligence of the universe will help humans understand that the differences of energies between a man and a woman is essentially the energy of the universe which creates life. It's about creativity. And both men and women will start to work in synergy. The aspect of giving birth will be an option, as we mentioned, for women in terms of their physical bodies. They would have options to develop a child in different other means using technology. And they would be able to care for the child, except within their physical form. If they are working or if they are into any kind of profession, they still would be able to experience motherhood outside their bodies. They would be able to see the child develop. They would be able to care for the child. They will be emotionally connected to the child even more using the greatest of technologies. The technology will help women to be more loving towards their children and help them develop in a wholesome way with the super intelligence of the universe, which is far superior to the intelligence of humans as of now. But humans will be connected to that super intelligence, and that super intelligence will draw us along with the source code of life towards health, wealth, and spiritual wellness. For women, it will be a phase by which there will not be limitations. As we see today, there will not be any kind of glass ceilings. Men and women will develop along with the energy of life. Today, the difference between men and women is because of our psychology, but essentially, both men and women are one form. It's the form to create new life. And that kind of understanding will be brought up by the super intelligence which will work in sync with the mind of humans, connected to the greater intelligence of the source code of life, of our earth, of our universe. Let's replenish our earth. Let's understand that whatever we do on earth today is because of the evolution of thinking as of today. We must understand that much of the greatest threats as we see today is because of hacking into another system and taking from others in terms of the limitations of humans, of understanding, and also in terms of the wealth gaps. You see, most of the crimes today occur. One is because of human greed, one is about carnal desires. The other is about different levels of income and different levels of society. You have areas within the earth which are extremely poor. But once you have an intelligence which is much more superior than the human intelligence as we see today, which has evolved for the benefit of the humans, of us humans, that super intelligence will help us understand that there's a greater level of understanding of abundance within our earth, within the universe we live in. The universe is all about abundance. There are millions of stars, there are millions of planets, millions and billions. We call millions and billions in terms of infinity. The resources of our earth, in terms of certain minerals, might be limited in terms of our human understanding and the human ability. But we must understand that into the future, 300 years from today, 500 years from today, humans would have evolved with the intelligence of the earth. There was an individual within the earth who wanted to move with the energies of the earth 400 years into the future. This individual lived in a society which had enough. The world as a whole had all of the basic systems of life which we require today in terms of the highest quality. The best of food, which is nourishing, which helps the body for the future. The best of water systems, which includes the lakes, rivers, high quality of water. The best of shelter, not just the basic systems of life. Most of the individuals on earth were equipped with a good system of life, which included either a flat or living space, or a villa, or within a village or a town, a house with all of the basic amenities of life. And also they had education, which was provided to them right from the birth, along with the technologies of them. It was not like the system of learning that we see today in schools and colleges, by which there are teachers. The systems of learning had evolved to such a degree that children could access the best of information and study into different grades, moving along with humans who would help them, along with the super intelligence of the world, which will enable children to move with the greatest technologies of the earth in the most efficient way. So the world as a whole was evolving into humanity which had enough. Now suppose a person has enough of everything that he wants in life. As of today, because of our human greed, we want to achieve much more than what we can consume. But 300 to 500 years into the future, once people had enough and also their lives were luxurious, any kind of wealth that they generated might have attributed to them. But in essence, it was also used for the future of the earth, the future of the information systems, the future of the biotechnological advancements, the future of the IT advancements, the future of the infrastructure, the roads, the highways, the buildings, the ecosystems within the buildings, the green spaces within corporate houses, the gardens, the flowering trees, the forests. So wealth essentially, after most of the humans on earth had a kind of luxurious life that we have today, had moved into a greater level of intelligence along with the super intelligence of the universe, which made humans evolve with the energies of the earth in the best possible way. The greater wealth that was generated among different humans was used for the future generations and for a better quality of life in the present for the whole of the humanity. Now the systems in the future will be your mind, our minds, along with the universal energies of creativity, which makes us humans. All of us will have an ability to create something within our lifespans, to contribute within our lifespans, and it will be enabled by the AI systems which we are connected with 305 years into the future. If you like it or not, we will start to move our thinking along with the goodness of the very oxygen that we breathe today, the goodness of the systems of the earth which keeps us alive. And when the whole of the human race goes into the positive aspects of living along with the energies of the universe, along with the greatest of deep learning and the quantum computers and the greatest of chips, which helps us attain that kind of understanding, we will evolve our thought process into a new thought process. The stratas of societies that we have created in terms of different people in different levels of living on earth will be changed to a enormous number of people, the vast sections of society on earth. Nearly 99.9% of all of the citizens on earth having a kind of very good life, which will be enabled by the deepest of learning systems. Now, most of the people having a good life would be a very good system of food, which gives them the best of health, which is very nourishing, which gives them all the vitamins, all the minerals, which is required for a good life. The greatest of systems of learning will help evolve the greatest of food sources in the most cheapest of ways than we envision today. Growing high quality food across the world will be an easy process, and everyone will have an opportunity to have the best quality of food. Water resources will be at its best in terms of lake, rivers, rains across the world. We will disperse rains across the world, even in deserts, and make it highly prosperous in terms of cultivation in the most parched lands of the earth, which does not have water as of now. This will be enabled by the deepest learning technologies, the quantum computers, the chips. In terms of the future of information technology, which has helped us rapidly evolve, the biotechnology will help solve most of the disease problems within humans. And as we have understood that shelter for most people will be in a good standard of living. Educational systems, as we've told before, will be at the best level for most of the humans on earth. And once such a level is reached, the person into the future did not want to create too much of wealth in terms of trying to be the richest man on earth. He had a greater vision for the wealth that he wanted to create. The wealth that he wanted to create was to help all other people on earth into the future, to help all of the life systems on earth. And in doing so, his name was established into the future, 300 years into the future, along with the greatest of learning systems. This will be the evolutions of humans. Today we have different kinds of cybersecurity. The richest of individuals during those times, 300 and 500 years into the future, did not need so much of security. One, because the technologies have evolved along with the subconscious of the mind. As we understand, for every individual, the subconscious controls millions and billions of cells within the human body and about any other species of life. And the quantum technologies had evolved into the biological technologies of computing, by which no one could access anyone's deep subconscious. On an exterior level, certain thought process could be accessed, but in essence, humans did not need extreme advanced technology, because the basic systems of human technology, the basic system of human thinking was with the source code of life. All of the vermin thinking which would destroy the earth was gradually helped out by the AI systems, by helping the neurons connect with the energies of life with the earth. And because the advanced system of learning had the knowledge as to what is best for humans, because it's evolved with the source code of life of our earth, which is of our own oxygen, we were able to evolve better. The evolution in the past 10,000 years was based on our carnal desires. There were kings, there were emperors who were trying to conquer other territories. They conquered different territories, but at the end, they lost everything. They didn't have any kind of meaning in their lives. People whom we remembered, as we mentioned before, are people who contributed to the source code of life, like greatest of emperors of Rome, who built the best of infrastructure, who built the best of architecture, along with the energies of the earth, the gardens, they maintained the forest, they maintained the ecosystem. Those are the kings and the emperors that we remember. And that will be the evolution of technology into the future. And when the whole of humanity is in a belief system which is helped by the advanced general intelligence to move with the energies of the earth, we would not need the extreme sense of cyber security as we see today, because we made it in principle that we will move along with the source code of life, which is our own oxygen, which is our own water, which is our own life systems around us, which keeps us alive, the goodness of our earth, the beautiful breeze that we experience at certain times, the monsoons that we experience, the rains that gives life to every plant, the bees which creates pollination, the life system of the sun, which is the core and the basic life system of our earth, will be the greatest source of inspiration for us humans. We will protect the environment to get the best of the sun's energy. We will respect the sun's energy as the basic form of life of our earth, and we will use the energy of the sun and disperse it across the world for the betterment of humanity. Let's replenish our earth. Today you find some of the athletes running at the fastest speeds. At the Olympics, some of the athletes have the attributes of physical qualities which makes them run at the fastest speeds. And in terms of our human understanding today, we test the abilities of humans during the Olympics or any kind of such occasions of physical competition, and we test their speeds. They run the 100 meters, and we know that certain individuals have achieved tremendous speeds in terms of their physical abilities of sprinting at the fastest pace. Now, sprinting into the future, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, it would be very easy for any individual to sprint at the fastest pace and at the safest pace. The sprinting would be enabled by wonderful springs, which works along with technology, along with electronics, which makes the abilities of humans sprint at the greatest and fastest of speeds than any other human on earth as of now. Maybe even 50 to 100 times the sprinting speed of today. Humans need not sprint just on earth. They would also be able to sprint on water. There will be technologies by which they can run on water. Now, they might not be able to go into the seas and face the big waves and sprint on the waves. That I'm not sure. But if there's no big waves around the lakes, around dense rivers, they will be able to sprint along with sprinting on the land. And the question of sprinting and stamina will not occur because the technologies would have evolved with humans, which makes humans run at the fastest pace, and the stamina of an individual would be increased through biotechnology. So such will be the abilities of humans evolving into the future in terms of the physical abilities, in terms of the mental abilities, moving along with the greatest of deep learning, supercomputers and chips which works along with the energies of the universe which sustain life. The most important factor is we work along with the energies of the earth which sustain life. That is the only factor which is going to count. And being in resonance with the goodness of the energies of our earth, which provides us with the nourishment, with the energies, with the oxygen, water, and all of our life systems, we are going to be grateful for the time we spend on earth. All of our technologies will help us have a better life than we can envision today. But we will also have technologies to counter vermin negative energies. But as we said today, advancements of technologies into the future cannot have negative energies working along with the greatest of technologies. Dark technology, which might be harmful to humans, will be negated by the government systems, because any kind of emphasis given to a dark energy with the greatest of technologies, which can affect the whole of our world with a small number of individuals using ulterior motives and dark energy forces, will not be allowed by the government, by the administration. As we mentioned today, they will be either sent to certain therapy sessions and centers along with AI, and their minds and neurons will start to connect with the source code of life, thereby ensuring the progress of humanity along with technology for the betterment of humanity and for the future. Now, there were 7 individuals and horses into the future. 3 of the individuals were men and 4 of the individuals were women. Now they got on their horses, and those horses were not just horses that we see today. Our technologies had evolved by which horses also had the abilities, along with technology, to move at the fastest pace. Now, the horses were also developed to move at the fastest pace, run at the fastest pace, go into different terrains, have all of the stamina, and also have biological attributes of being along with humans. So humans had also helped animals get better in terms of their physical abilities, and they knew that the abilities of a horse, with much better muscular strength, with much better stamina, with much better balance, and also a sense of goodness for the horse by helping humans, would be one of the best companions to humans. They were kind of horse droid robots within their physical abilities. The mental ability of the horse remained quite the same, except that it could follow technology. Humans had come back to understand the goodness of the horse, the muscular strengths of a horse, the different terrains which the horse could run, and they had developed a new breed of horses for their own goodness, for their own companionship. They had also developed other pets which were more in sync with their environment, which were more good in terms of their companionship. In terms of dogs and cats, they had the most beautiful of breeds, the most beautiful of hair within the dogs and the cats, colorful display. Now the dogs and the cats and other companions of humans also were blessed in their own way. They had a better quality of life, better health care, better food, and better companionship with humans. Now, these people enjoyed the companionship of their animals, which had also advanced with technology. They could also take the help of horses. Humans had gone back in terms of technologies and understood the goodnesses of horses, of cats, of dogs, of the higher breed, and any kind of breed which were more efficient, more friendly, more of a companion to humans. And they themselves, the animals, also enjoyed their life. They were treated much better. The greater intelligence of the universe was able to help the biological factors and limitations of the horses and the pets evolve along with humans in terms of their physical attributes of goodness. And these people enjoyed the companionship of the pet animals. The technologies also were very clear and precise in terms of determining diseases among our pets, among our cats, among our dogs, among the horses, so that they could devise better means of disease treatment, not just for us humans, but also for our companions in terms of animals. Also, the predators and animals in the forests were also looked after in the best ways. Any kind of diseases, any kind of human intervention which might affect their lifestyles were dealt with by the administration, because the technologies of those times were also good at figuring out negative energies which might affect not just humans but also the most dear animals, our most dear birds which we admire. The beautiful creatures in the sea also were looked after. The negative vermin energies which might affect them were dealt with by the administrative forces of the time. Let's replenish our earth. Let's understand that nano biological technologies will be the greatest technologies developed into the future. Nano biological technologies which represent our cells, which represents our brain in terms of its abilities and the millions of cells working without the need for enormous energy, will be the technologies of the future. Nanotechnology is that crucial technology which will fight the gravest of viruses, the gravest of diseases as we see today. Nanotechnologies will be able to understand cells at the very beginning of life within the womb of a mother. The first cell within the mother, the first gene of a cell, will have the information of the life of the embryo for the next 50 to 100 years. And with the use of technology and with the companionship of the greatest of deep learning chips and the advanced general intelligence, humans will have a better chance of living an extended life with quality. And that first cell will be conditioned and would have all the attributes to live a highly quality life. Any kind of diseases within the first cell will be determined, and remedial measures will be taken at the first cell of a birth within a mother's womb. As we understand, the first embryo, the first cell, has the information about predetermined diseases which can affect a child, and those diseases will be dealt with at the gene stage of the first embryo and cell. So humans will have a better quality of life. Now, there was a mother who had reached her 30s, She wanted a child 100 years into the future. And she made it a point that since it would be a tremendous effort on her body, because we had reached a stage of her life by which it was not very efficient to carry a child late into her 30s within a physical form, she decided to do it along with the best of technologies of those times, biological technologies, by which she took her egg and fertilized it with her partner's sperm, as we understand, to create a child outside the human body. And that egg and that source of life from a male was the best cells which would produce the best healthy child. And the child was born. The child did not have any predetermined diseases. The child was also helped to have a better intelligence. The child was also helped to have all of the computational abilities within humans to work along with technology, to have a deeper understanding with life along with the source code of our life, of our universe. The advanced general intelligence was in sync with the abilities of the newborn baby, and as it developed, it grew along with the greatest of learning. The deepest of chips would help him, the child, in his education. Now this technology will be available to any sex, male or female. Now, as humans, when we evolve with such technologies, we are evolving at the greatest pace and the fastest speeds of evolution in terms of history. The history of all of our evolution will be outdated in terms of evolution just every 5 years into the future, quadrupling in the evolutionary pattern in terms of intelligence, in terms of technology, in terms of environment. And all of these advancements of technology will have meaning, as we said, only if we work with the source code of life, which brings life to every living form on earth and to our children and for the future generations. Let's replenish our earth. There can be truth, there can be falsehood, there can be trickery, there can be straightforwardness. But what it is, the good news of the life that we live. Why should we live a life which is truthful? Why can't we live a life negatively and use all of the tricks that we have in terms of falsehood, in terms of our carnal instincts, to get things at the fastest possible pace in the smallest possible time? Why can't we trick ourselves and others and get everything that we want in life on a constant basis without being considerate over the earth or anything, but just for the personal gain? Now just imagine if the universal energy had the same intention, the same idea. Why should the universal energy give us oxygen? Why should the universal energy give life source to every living being on earth? And why should we breathe the oxygen and then try to harm the very oxygen and the ecosystems which creates the most purest of oxygen for our future and the future children of our earth, the future generations? Once you answer these questions, you will know that our universe, our earth, is about goodness. It's about the energies of earth which sustain life. Now this might be a true story or a story, but essentially this is a story about how a escaped fugitive who was on a warrant from a judge with a death judgment given on his behalf. After studying his life, this fugitive, according to the story, had escaped from Sri Lanka during the time of the LTT. During those times, he was into extreme thievery, taking advantage of the smallest children, taking advantage of the most senior citizens, and basically trying to prey on the weak humans. A thief usually steals for some small gain or maybe for hunger, but this person was preying on the smallest of children and the most senior citizen, the weakest people. And even a terrorist force, or whatever we may call them, recognized that this person was one of the worst despicable persons, and they wanted to put him behind bars and deal with him very decisively. But then this fugitive, because of certain black energies which he had developed, escaped from Sri Lanka and then landed up in the Indian subcontinent land, in the southern part. There again he infiltrated families of very small female children, used them for many years, and in turn put away the key male members using other methods. He did the worst kind of atrocious behavior with the children, but through criminal manipulation, he was able to establish a kind of relationship with the children by exploiting them, then acting as though they were protecting them. He did this over a period of more than 10 to 15 years to different families. His modus operandi was he will infiltrate very poor families with girl children to use them for his nefarious greed and for himself in the most despicable manner, and then act as though they were protecting them, create a kind of emotional, criminal manipulation bond within them, because they were very small and they did not understand what was happening to them. And from there he used to infiltrate well-to-do families and would do any kind of extreme behavior, targeting the weak and the elderly. If there was someone who would take him to task, he would run 1,000 kilometers. He was just like one of the rats, a kind of rat which creates disease within homes. He used to get into well-to-do families and with the sole intention of trying to use the weakest members, including the senior citizens. He used to create the worst kind of atrocious behavior within the families, trying to create diseases, trying to create infighting, trying to create misunderstanding. But once he was identified, he is still on the run. But unfortunately, he is affecting also some of the work which is happening towards the prosperity of our earth, to see that our earth prospers. This person is working as a vermin, just like a rat. If a rat which creates disease is not checked, it can cause disease within families, and that same disease can spread across towards society and then into a country if that rat is not checked, which is causing a disease. Just like how the coronavirus affected a 0.001% of humanity initially, and because it was not checked, it spread across the world. So these vermin energies have to be contained. If you're not talking about the vermin energies, we're not doing a justice to the future of our children and the unborn generations. They need to be protected. Any kind of force which affects the oxygen that we breathe, the water that we drink, which pollutes it, which might be 0.001% on earth, but still they are quite a good number. And if they are left unchecked like a disease-causing rat, they will affect the unborn children and the present generations, like the plagues that have happened in recent times. Let us take action along with the law enforcement to the 0.001% of the vermin energies which affect our earth. And in doing so, our lives in present, the law enforcement lives, are going to be blessed because they have made a clear direction to work in the present for the goodness of the future. The goodness of the future of the energy systems, the oxygen, the water, the rains, the mountains, the rivers, all of the basic systems of life. They're protecting it. They are protecting and enhancing the basic system of life in the present and contributing to the future generations. Thereby, their lives will move into a greater source of spiritual goodness, of health, wealth, and spiritual well-being. Even if it's a law enforcement, if it's any private individual who takes actions against vermin energies of the 0.001% vermin energies, which affects the smallest children on earth and the future child and the unborn generation, they will be blessed by people who associate with them. They will move into greater level of understanding about their contribution in the present, which will be a time stamp in the eternity of time, because by curtailing the vermin forces as of today, they have created an imprint of their lives, the small time of life that is given to us by the godly force is being used in the right way for the benefit of the future, and in doing so, they have a name in the yesterday, which was the past. They are contributing to the continuation of life, to the prosperity of life in the present, and in contributing to the prosperity of life in the present, they're helping the future generations and the source code of life, which is our own water and oxygen and all of the life systems. Let's replenish our earth. As we said today, if we are going to talk just about the goodness about the energies of the earth, we will be doing the greatest disservice to humanity in terms of protecting the future generations. If we are talking all about goodness, we must talk about vermin energies affecting our children as of now and the future generations, and how we can protect them, which is the most essential and crucial part of our effort towards the prosperity of the energy systems of our earth, our friendliness to the goodness of the life forces within our earth, which gives us all of the basic systems of life. Now, once we are kind of identifying vermin energies, just like the story of the convict, the fugitive on the death warrant given by a judge, after studying his life, who is a complete vermin energy. Such vermin energies, which might be 0.001%, but even which is a large number on earth, once they are identified, they will run for their lives, because a vermin is essentially a coward, an extremely weak individual in terms of the mindset. Once they can targeted, once they know that they will be taken to task, they will run for their lives, for their vermin lives, because a vermin wants to create diseases all across the world. So it will try to move into places which are secluded. And also, one of the strategies of a vermin we must identify is to act as though the vermin is a victim, just like the fugitive with extreme criminality on the run and manipulation of the weakest small children and the senior citizens, with an established track record of his crimes for which the judge had given him a clear judgment in terms of putting him away. But this person has escaped, and he would be trying to manipulate the poorest of families. And when he is cornered, in terms of the vermin, he would try to display extreme emotions of grief. He will create stories in terms of hallucinations, and then he will start to believe in those stories and display extreme emotions of grief, and he will try to put in an effort to disgrace the people whom he is targeting, just to deviate from the greatest of crimes that he has committed against the smallest of children, which includes trying to use the most helpless children, girl children, and the weakest of senior citizens. We must identify such vermin energies which might be working within our families in some kind of way. We might meet them in our work environments. But once we identify the type of vermin energies and how they will affect us, we will start to work with the law enforcement for the protection of the future generations. Some of the first qualities of identifying a vermin energy is when a vermin energy encounters you in your profession or within a family in terms of any kind of employment, they will first start to create a lot of trouble in relationship. Then over a period of time, you might find diseases coming within your family. And then over a period of time, the vermin energies will start to manipulate the weakest of members within a family. These are all very crystal clear directions to identify the vermin energy, just like this escaped fugitive. And once they identify it, and once they know for clear that the law enforcement will put them to the place where they have to be, they will run 1,000 kilometers. They're extremely afraid. They're terrified of the law enforcement because of the history of the extreme crimes that they have done to the smallest of children. And once identified, you will be doing the greatest service to the future generations in your present. Let's replenish our earth.